Hello everybody, we are here today with Coastal Vineyards and we are going to talk to you about our continental expansion with the white grape wine Chenin Blanc. Currently we are a small vineyard located in the Yakima Valley and we specialize in the production of Chardonnay. We would ideally like to expand our company and would like to do so once again with the white grape wine of Chenin Blanc. Currently, Chenin Blanc is famously grown in the Loire Valley of France, as well as a few places in the United States, such as California and Washington, as well as South Africa. Chenin Blanc is a wine with a very high acidity that can be used to make everything from sparkling wines to a well-balanced dessert wine. That being said, it is a fairly dangerous wine to produce because easily it can produce a very bland, neutral wine. However, we at Coastal Vineyards feel that if marketed correctly, Chenin Blanc is a huge untapped market. Hence, our objective is to grow and produce a high-quality, world-class Chenin Blanc somewhere in the world and thus expand our wine production. In doing so, we have decided upon the alternatives of just remaining in Washington State and expanding here, or else taking our endeavors to South Africa. And now Ryan will walk you through our pest analysis.
Hello everyone. So as Kylie said, we performed a pest analysis on South Africa and Washington just to compare the two. South Africa is ranked 34th on the Ease of Doing Business Index, which is an index that the World Bank puts out just to rank different countries based on basically the ease of doing business in the country. And so 10 things that it ranks it on is the ease of starting a business, dealing with construction permits, employing workers, registering property, getting credit, protecting investors, paying taxes, trading across borders, enforcing contracts, and closing a business. So we kind of compared a few different wine producing countries, including France, Australia, and the United States, where we currently do business. And so the United States, for example, ranks 5th, Australia ranks 10th, and France ranks 26th. As I said before, South Africa is ranked 34th, and it's generally based on some negative inflation policies that they have right now, and high taxes and restrictive labor laws. The Wall Street Journal just a few days ago, actually, on March 7th, ran an article online and they interviewed South Africa's finance minister, Pavan Gordhan. And he explained that the country needed a growth-friendly policy on budgets and deficits, on budget deficits and spending, and the economy was too sluggish to warrant prudent fiscal policy as seen elsewhere in the world. However, we see this statement as an indication that South Africa is planning to spend money it doesn't have, just kind of like other countries have recently, and in order to stimulate their economy. But we believe that these government policies are bankrupting other nations and causing necessary bailouts from other nations, and that these have massive inflationary effects. As far as Washington goes, we already produce there. And in Washington, we have a high level of education, and we know the business here, and we have a good infrastructure in Washington. So it's not something we really want to give up in order to expand abroad into some unknown territory that looks kind of shaky at best. So I'm going to pass it off to Tyler now.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So just a quick SWOT analysis of the wine industries of both countries. Starting with South Africa, the strengths, of course, are corrective organizations focused on quality. South Africa has had a rocky history with wine. Now it's starting a vine improvement program, which is a two-step process. The first of which is to select the right clones and rootstocks, and then the second is to match them with their appropriate terroir or combination of vineyard typicities. The climate is actually another one of the strengths. It's an awesome place to grow wine, but secondly, it's also resistant to global warming. It's actually the most resistant to global warming out of all the New World wine areas. However, infrastructure stability, global perception of their vast lakes of poorly made Chenin Blanc wines is definitely a weakness. Also, the political aspect, the fact that the BE is trying to correct the wrongs of apartheid, can also be viewed as meddling within the normal economies of how the wine industry would normally work. As far as Washington is concerned, we have an amazing climate in Washington that's actually somewhat comparable to South Africa's. We're both incredible at growing apples as well as wine grapes. Marketing has taken off. We are a premier wine growing region of the United States. We are the second most famous and the second most productive of Washington after California. As far as the track record, we have numerous awards in international competitions, and our infrastructure is sound. However, we are somewhat exposed to the fact that we don't get our wines out and about, which is why we came to the conclusion, since we are already established in Washington State, since more than half of the costs associated with starting a new winery are just building costs alone, and we have already incurred those, we feel that it's a better idea to stay in Washington State and not expose ourselves to the risks of exporting, especially in the current financial markets, with a high-class Chenin Blanc of extremely high quality at a time when most people don't believe it will take off, and therefore we have a strong positioning if we do it correctly. Thank you very much. I'd like to turn it over to Seiji now to talk about the timeline of implementation for Washington State.
Thank you. So now I'd like to briefly talk about the implementation based on chronological order. And right now we just learned about fermentation vessels and equipment here. And next year we're going to buy grapes from current Yakima source, and at the same time we're going to begin winemaking tests of Chenin Blanc. And next year too, we are going to continuously do cultivation of grapes. And next year we're going to have our first commercial release of Chenin Blanc. And then year 4, we're going to establish our own unique source of Chenin Blanc, and then we're going to position to make an industry competitive line in order to start selling our products. And in year 5, our vineyard will be actively producing Chenin Blanc grapes. And after next year we're going to keep on growing our business. Thank you.
My name is Allie Smith, and I'm here to wrap the conclusion of our presentation with some strong financial points. First and foremost, if we were to just start producing this new type of grape in the Yakima Valley with our current vineyards, we would only incur approximately $90,000 in costs. That would be buying an acre of land, planting Chenin Blanc grapes there, thus producing about 15,000 bottles and 1,200 cases of Chenin Blanc wine. Given all the realities proposed previously, we recommend to expand in the Washington State market rather than incur the costs and risks of outsourcing our portion of our company to South Africa for further production. South African costs would be approximately 3.7 million rand, which is a currency that fluctuates in comparison to the dollar widely between 4 and 7 times. It's extremely risky, and that's why we conclude that we would like to keep Chenin Blanc production exclusively in Washington State to produce the most competitive type of Chenin Blanc wine. Thank you.